Happy Hump Day. Warm greetings from the high 10. This is the Vault XL two-part live. A former roommate of the King Road home in Moscow, Idaho, has decided to speak to the news about the case of her associates, friends that lived at the home. One of those friends was Maddie Mogan. She is one of the decedents that was brutally murdered at the King Road home alongside her roommates and friends. And then the next topic is pertaining to Mr. Seth Rogers. Nancy Grace asked him a little while ago about taking a polygraph. He has obliged her, and he has taken that polygraph, and he has passed the polygraph. Now, what is to happen next? Will Mr. and Mrs. Proudfoot take the polygraph? We will see. Let's get down to business. Good morning, America is the source. Thank you for joining me.
At the Idaho college murder case, we're now hearing from a former roommate who once lived at the house where the killings took place. Kayla Whitworth is here in the studio with us and has more. Good morning to you, Kayla.
Robin, good morning. So Ashlyn Couch moved out of that house on King Road months before her friends were murdered. And this morning, she shares the memories, both happy and haunting, including the moment she got that vandal alert that changed everything.
I mean, I couldn't even walk to my car in the dark for months after, it happened.
Fear lingering with Ashlyn Couch after her friends were stabbed to death in their off-campus home in Moscow, Idaho, a home where she too once lived.
It crosses my mind more that could have happened while I was there. And, you never know, how long someone is watching your house.
The 6th bedroom on King Road was hers, and now this morning, she's speaking out for the first time on camera since Kaylee Gonzalez, Madison Mogan, Xana Kernodle, and her boyfriend Ethan Chapin were murdered in November of 2022. Ashlyn initially signed the lease to live in the popular off-campus home, telling our station KXLY that she moved out in May of 2022 after graduating the semester before. But she stayed close with the girls, especially Maddie, sharing the last message she sent to her after getting an alert from the University of Idaho that there had been a suspected homicide.
I texted our group of friends, and I just had said, has anyone heard from Maddie? And I remember my last text message to her was are you okay? And I feel like right then and there I kind of just knew that something was wrong.
The man charged with the murders, Brian Koberger, a judge entering a not guilty plea on his behalf, as his defense team says he was out driving that cold November night, as he often did, to hike or stargaze. But prosecutors allegedly linking Koberger to the heinous crimes through DNA left on the button strap of a knife sheath found underneath Maddie.
You wish that you could just say goodbye, and that's one thing that I just wish that I could do at least one more time is just give her one last hug just to be able to say goodbye.
Now the home that they shared has been torn down. The next hearing in this case is May 14th, and Koberger's attorney, Ann Taylor, says she will deliver a witness list and exhibits that she says will support his alleged alibi. And you guys might remember they've also said they'll rely heavily on expert testimony from cell phone experts to prove what they say he was doing that night.
This is chilling.
Yes, sure. It's certainly.
Thank you for bringing it to a good day on the studio.
Of course. I'm glad to be here.
Good morning, America is the source. So this young lady lived in the house last May 2022. And as most of you know, the young people were unalive going into the winter of 2022. Can you imagine getting the news, one, that your friend and associates were brutally murdered, and then to top it off, you stayed in that house where the murders took place. You slept there, you ate there, you laughed there, you cried there. The one thing I don't think I heard was how long she stayed in the house. So how long did she live in the house with the girls? Did she get along with the girls? Obviously, I'm assuming she was closest to Maddie because she's speaking of Maddie more in this commentary. So is she also in a sorority? Is she in a sorority that any of the young ladies were in? Lots of questions. And I can understand why she didn't come out to speak about living there before, because you see the debacle that comes with talking about true crime and how ignorant it can become once people get a hold of your name, your address, they put you on blast and start, insinuating things. And you see a lot of this on YouTube and Facebook pertaining to true crime. So I can see why she would never want to let everyone know who she was. And although she wasn't living there, allegedly didn't have anything to do with being there, but understandable. Thank you, Sundown, for the donation. Thank you, sweetheart. But let's think about this for just a second. You find out your friend is deceased, and she didn't die of natural causes. She didn't die in a car wreck. She didn't die from cancer or lupus. She died by the hands of a vicious human being. You later get a suspect, Mr. Brian C. Korberger. And you're trying to grapple with this. My friend's gone, brutally murdered with these other young people. They all were friends. 2 allegedly are deemed survivors, however you want to chop that up. I was in this house. I was in this house living with these females. Can you imagine how terrible that would be? And yes, Sundown, this is your 10th super chat on the Vault live stream. Thank you so much, sweetheart. Thank you. Hold on a second. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, it's so depressing. I can't even imagine what she's thinking to herself. I was in that house, and you hear her say, I wonder how long the person was watching the house. Exactly. Because we got to find out when he touched down, Mr. Korberger. He's allegedly the suspect. He's been arrested. DNA on the button, sheath, touch DNA, latent shoe print also in front of one of the doors, right there off the kitchen. I'm assuming her room would be, would have been the downstairs room or the second floor room, however you want to word it, I don't know. But either way, it doesn't matter. Just the knowing I was in this house. I went to this house. I visited this house. I slept in this house. And this thing, don't know when he touched down, came to visit, flew back home, came back out. Information says he possibly was stalking the girls a year before. And I said that to you all because I pay attention to details. And I told myself, how do we know he wasn't stalking the girls before moving to Washington State? Stay woke. And then boom, out of the blue, they do a news broadcast last winter, around February or so, 23, and say, oh, we believe Korberger may have stalked the girls beforehand, one of the girls before, a year beforehand. That's a lot to digest. It's bad enough knowing how he killed these kids. Allegedly, one of the girls gave up a fight, okay? Miss Kanoto, she gave him the business. You're damn right, I'm trying to live. I may not be a match for you, but I want to live. That's a lot for this young lady to digest. Living in the house, and as well as the other two. Some of you are going to grapple with what they heard, didn't hear, what they knew, didn't know. Were they up? Were they messaging each other? Did one sneak out of the room and run downstairs with the other one? You wonder all of that. Hours go by. Everybody's hulling outside or some business. It's disturbing. And it's not to be mean, but once you find out that people are alive in the house, it puts a new spin on everything. Because what you're saying to yourself, damn, were they up, not up? Just didn't want to go look and see what was going on? Then somebody will say, well, if they went and looked, they possibly could have ended up dead. Well, allegedly Korberger walked by Dylan. And you're talking about as close as I am to this device. Or let's scoot back a little bit. So he walked by this hallway and I'm standing in the doorway. So was I standing in the crack of a doorway? The door was all the way open? What are we saying? Only she can tell us that. How far away Korberger was when he walked from that hallway coming from Cornola's room and past her in what would be a short, what I would call a breezeway in front of her door. That's a lot to digest. Think about all the people who went to the house and partied, had fun, visited, spent the night. They're thinking the same damn thing. Damn, that could have been me. You know, I hung with these young ladies. I talked to them. You know, the kids had parties allegedly. Rumors that they had a party that Friday before the incident. Don't know. But I know it's scary. Hello, everybody in the chat. Thank you, ladies, for joining me. It's scary. And you can see her tearing up when she spoke about Maddie and the situation. And the one thing she said that I think is interesting is if I could just give her a hug one more time, if I could say goodbye one more time. Well, there's an old saying older people have said, never say goodbye. You see, never say goodbye to your friends, family members. Say until the next time, till we meet again. It's very poignant. Until the next time. If I could just hug her one last time, one time. You hear a lot of people say that about the dead. If I could just see them one last time, if I could just hug them, kiss them one last time, you know, it probably still wouldn't be enough, because grief is heavy. Grief is heavy. And it's even heavier when you factor in how these kids left here. You know, this isn't a case of your mother, sister, friend died and they were sickly and you were anticipating a finality. You knew they were sick and it was rendered by whomever. They weren't going to make it. So you're preparing for the final hour. But not like this. Who's preparing to hear a 20-something-year-old is butchered in their own bed? And I was thinking about this earlier. How scary is that? To be unalive in your own house, okay? It's one thing to know I can get hurt outside the door, going to the store, going to work, going to the gym, traveling on the highway, but not in my house. Your house, your apartment, your trailer, it's supposed to be. And you're not sitting here thinking, while I'm sleeping, while I'm taking a shower, while I'm stepping out of the shower, while I'm making a cup of coffee, the boogeyman is making his way into my domain. And God forbid he's got some other friends with him. Lord have mercy. Looking at my laptop, my iPad, TV, texting, or sleeping, and the boogeyman is coming in my house. I know there's times when the queen seems, I seem a little rough around the edges in my commentary, but this is queen. And know that I'm coming from a good place. We don't always have to agree. But I speak from experience. That's why I'm a little rough around the edges, okay? If you knew Queen's story, you'd be like, oh yeah, I see why Queen comes out fighting from the corners. This is scary to me. And I don't mean to get emotional. As I said, your home is your sanctuary. And nobody has the right to take your life, period. Whether we're outside, you think I said something, I think you said something, a look, it's not worth going to the battle. You understand what I'm saying? We don't got to kill each other. But your house, this is my house. That was their house. And I beat myself up when this story first broke because I was like, oh, how did they get in? How did they get in? You know, I was, racking my brain trying to figure out, how did the perpetrator get in? And when they finally said, oh, there was no break-in, I was like, huh? They didn't break in? There's no Jimmy door, there's no broken window? I was angry at the fact that they were murdered. I was angry when I heard it wasn't no break-in, because then I'm like upset with the girls, because I'm like, oh my God, please tell me you didn't leave the door unlocked. You left the window unlocked. How the fuck did he get in here? And then it says, allegedly, oh, they didn't lock their door. Oh man. That's a lot to digest. Besides the crime, to know they didn't lock their doors. You can't assume somebody won't come in your house. And we all have done it, at least some of us. Whether you're in an apartment, a house, you've walked to the mailbox. Maybe you didn't lock your door in an apartment. Maybe you did. You went to the mail, you went and empty trash, you didn't lock the door. You're in your house, emptying your trash. So think about a homeowner. Why are they gonna lock their door to go feed outside to the trash? You're not gonna do that. You're not gonna do that. You're not going to do that. You're not going to lock your doors to empty your trash. Oh, I forgot something in my car. Let me go to my car. Are you gonna lock your front door from your home, feet to the driveway? Of course not. You're just not gonna do that. Hello, everybody. Thank you all so much for joining me. You're just not gonna do that. But the thing you have to remember, because I've moved, and I'm not gonna even go into the belly of the beast about the new place. I'm not gonna do that because I'm trying to remain humble. But know, Queen, eyes are open. Know that my eyes are always open. And I'm listening like a dog. From the moment I shut the door and I'm on the outside of the door, that anybody could run up and do something to me, try to push me back into the apartment door. Somebody could be across the hall and do something. Know that Queen is always aware. And how I'm living now is way worse because I'm clusterfuck. Excuse my language. I said I'm trying to quit cursing. I'm clustered in. And I'm in a skybox now. So when you count that with a bunch of people, traffic doors, I have to be careful. Security cameras, but that means nothing to me. Because I told somebody that recently. I told the elderly lady that I just met, she acts a bit green. And you all know how I get. When you start acting like you don't give a fuck about your safety, I got a problem with you. Because when you start making excuses, that's usually when bad things happen. Oh, I leave the door unlocked. Why? You leave the door unlocked. I told her, I said, do you see what we're living around? Not trying to be nasty. I said, you can't leave your door unlocked. You think somebody's not watching and knowing when you come home? When you went in, your back is to people. You coming in with parcels, that's when your defenses are down. So it doesn't matter if you're in a skybox, you're in a trailer, you're in a house, you're in a duplex, you cannot see behind you. And that's when bad things happen, when your back is turned. So there's no way I'm getting ready to leave this fucking door unlocked. For what? And I'm looking and I'm listening to this person talk and I'm saying, this is what's wrong with people right here. Listening to her act like it's no big deal. Oh, well, it ain't no big deal. And I don't worry about stuff. And I got faith in God. And, oh, okay. So the God you praise isn't giving you a discerning spirit? That's what you're saying? Let's go deep into this. The God you praise is not giving you discerning spirit to say, you just moved into an apartment building. There are people around here who probably got a lot going on. We're going to leave it at that. And you think it's safe to leave your door unlocked, period. Whether you've been here 5 months, 2 months, okay? You are never safe. I don't give a damn that there's security cameras outside of this door. It would be my luck the day I come in or out, the cameras are not working, either in the hall or the elevator. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I don't think like that. And I know I'm younger than her. Okay, I'm 53 and I know she's older than me. She's probably at least 60 plus, okay? You know, but she's making excuses and you know the queen. Don't make no excuses about your safety. And I'm not saying I ain't never left out my apartment at the last place and, you know, walked over to the other building to give the young lady stuff and didn't lock the door. Oh, I did it a few times. I took a chance because it was only like 4 of us, you know, 4 people per building. So I used, you know, a little more discretion that, you know, I could walk out the door. But the point still is once I turn my back and walk over to the other building and then go down the steps and go to their apartment, I ain't going to be able to see if somebody runs in my door. See where I'm going? So what I told her was, because I know how I can come off, I said, I apologize to you if you think I'm being too forward in my commentary. I'm just saying to you, you might want to be careful about leaving your door unlocked. Now, she either take it or leave it. But I get this feeling from talking to her, she don't give a fuck. And that's fine. Because the one thing I'm trying to learn to be is more objective and to accept people at face value, whether they agree with the queen or not, and let it be. I'm not going to argue. I ain't going to go back and forth with you. You want to leave your door unlocked in a skybox full of people, and you see what kind of people are walking around, coming and going. A lot of these people, you know, they probably got a lot of shit going on up here, mental issues. You know this, you've seen them. So let it be. Like I said, the area is great where I live. It's just the people in the confounds aren't the best. But, you know, you do what you have to do to survive, to live. You know what I'm saying? So all that was on my mind this morning, watching a video of an incident that took place here in Knoxville recently. Please go to my community page, check out the video where the guy shoots his girlfriend inside of the house. Very nice area, same side of town that I'm on. So it's somewhere in this, up the road somewhere. I don't know the exact address, but it's on this side of town where I am. This side is considered, you know, people consider this side of the town where people have money, but it's not true. Everybody's kind of like mixed in. You've got working class, poor, it's all mixed in. But we do have some people that are very wealthy that live on this side of town and going further west. So this lady obviously had an altercation with her boyfriend. And when you see the camera on the police, they're walking up to the house, they're walking into the house, and then it happens so fast. They draw their guns and they shoot. They're gonna take it in slow motion so you can see what actually happened. And in slow motion, in the still frame, you will see the black man with the gun pointed up to the lady's head. And he did shoot her in the face. So discretion advised for those who watch the video. They cover her face, blur it out. And what's weird is this is her house, okay? Nice furniture inside the house. You see the facade outside on the news. It's a nice looking house, nice rancher neighborhood, clean. What the fuck happened? So this is what I'm saying about people. You don't know people. Now, I don't know how long she dated this man. Did she have children with him? What's his problem? If he's mental, drunk, or drugged up, dope, alcohol, don't know, don't care. The point I'm trying to make is you don't know people. You don't know how things can jump off in a moment's notice. Had he been violent with her before? Don't know. But to get shot in your own house where you're paying damn bills is jacked up. You'll see her huddled in a corner. He's lying dead on the ground. She's got a bonnet on her head. So I looked, her skin looked white, but my neighbor just told me she thinks she's biracial, so I'm not really sure. Well, she don't really know. She's mixing it up with another story. So I don't know if it's a white woman, black, but you can tell her skin is light. So I said, well, a white woman with a bonnet on? I said, because you don't usually see white women with bonnets on. So you could see it, you know, her face is blurred out, but you can see the bonnet on her head. And I said, what's crazy is she wouldn't get off the corner. The police is steady saying, come on, ma'am, you can come out. You can come. He's dead on the ground, and she's like, she won't even step over the dead man. It's strange. Please go to my community page to watch the video if you can watch it. But what I'm trying to say is you just don't know people. So whether it's somebody watching you, stalking you, crazy neighbor walking around, somebody randomly looking for somebody to rob, hurt, assault, or you're dating somebody violent, living with somebody violent, excuse me, you need to heed the warnings. That's all I'm gonna say. And being a woman, it's very dangerous out here. Living alone, it's dangerous living with people, living with family, living with friends, dating, married. You don't know people. As you hear with this new story with Miss Micah, South Carolina, murdered, allegedly killed herself. A lot of people are talking, don't know if she did it, didn't do it. That's a very interesting story as well. But my prayers are to the Idaho 4, their family, the victims, their families. As many of you know, Mr. Gonzalez was very vocal, has been very vocal since the murder of his daughter, Kaylee. And of course he should be, that's his child. I can't get mad at, you know, some of the things he said in the beginning was, you know, it seemed like he was talking in circles. I didn't really understand where he was coming from, but I'm sure it's from anger, naturally, because his child was brutally killed. He's not expecting to bury his daughter. She's graduating. She just got a new job, and she's supposed to be starting her life. No life to start. No new life. No new ventures. No new boyfriends. No new marriage. Never going to have children. Never going to see the world. Never going to be in the world doing things. You understand what I'm saying? Because somebody decided to take that away from her. She and her friends. And that's what's scary to me. Is that one moment a person is walking and talking, laughing, and then boom, they're gone. And you're like, I just saw him yesterday. I just saw her yesterday. I just talked to them 2 weeks ago. And then you hear the crazy story. What happened? Even when people die naturally, you still say, well, what happened? Man, I can't believe they're gone. But in this case, you're talking about young people enjoying themselves, living their life, best life. and snuffed out by an evil doer. You also hear in this commentary that the defense is going to show the court where Mr. Kohlberger was, his phone data, to show that he was stargazing. That means nothing to me. So what are you going to show in court? A burner phone? You're going to show us data from a burner phone that he used? And what did he do? Take it somewhere and left it under a tree, and then went on his night hunt of 4 kids? Make it make sense, Annie Taylor. I don't care for her anyway. I understand she's doing her job because that's the job she does. She's a defense attorney, but I think she's milking the cow. Because as I told people, when Annie Taylor gets done with the Brian Kohlberger case, she will be a millionaire. Stay woke. She's getting paid a lot of money by the state of Idaho to try this case. And let me tell you what she's making by the hour. Most of us would have all our bills paid for. I don't give a damn what you owe right now. Whoever's listening to the Queen right now, whatever debt you got, what Annie Taylor's making on the hour to represent Mr. Kohlberger, you could pay your due bills in full. I don't care if you owe a school loan, checking the cash, mortgage. You could pay all those bills in a year's time. You wouldn't owe a dime. You wouldn't owe a damn dime. Right now, with what Annie Taylor is making, you could pay your car off. You could pay your house note off. Are you all listening to what I'm saying? You would not owe a fucking dime to nobody. And possibly stop working and go sit and lay in the sun for a couple of months and do absolutely nothing, but just debit your account. Oh, $10 for a margarita? Sure, run your card. Oh, $600 for a pair of shoes? Run your card. I'm being serious. That's what pissed me off about this Kohlberger business. When I found out how much money she was making, I said, when did defense attorneys make this? This is not a public defender's salary. Hell, she's making more than the damn district attorney. It's crazy. But as I was saying, don't mean to rattle off. This is a scary situation because this is happening every day. These horrible stories of people being unalived in their homes. Like I said, it's one thing to be unalived out in the street, but not your house. Your house should be your safe haven, your sanctuary. Nobody has the right to take that from you, period, no matter where you are. But your home is where you go to relax, to have fun, to kick off your shoes, crawl under the covers, turn on the fireplace, make a cup of coffee, tea, a little toddy. You do you, because this is your space. And somebody decides to come in and violate you in the most horrific way. Now, I do not know if there's anything sexual between Kohlberger and the victims. I won't even doubt if he could probably perform, tell you the truth. Just saying. He's evil. He's a woman hater. He's a people hater. They said he was narcissistic. He felt like he came off as a know-it-all. He knew everything. He didn't mind going toe-to-toe with you about what he knew. And people like that can be very dangerous, as you see. I know all. I'm the head knocker. Don't question me. You don't want to go battle the battle with me. That's Kohlberger. Grand narcissist, sociopath. Hell, maybe a psychopath. And I pray that there are no more victims from here to Pennsylvania. Because when you go back in time and listen to the information of the woman who was working the bar out there in Pennsylvania, or some girl he was talking to, whoever, and he's trying to get the girl's number. I think it was a young lady who was in the bar, not bartender. Well, not in the bar staff, a waitress or somebody did say something about him. They put him on alert as one of the people to watch in the restaurant. But asking personal questions like where you live. Now, I will say here in the South, the men have a bad habit of doing that. As most of you know, the South they run a little different. The people are a little bit different than people out west, up north. People here, we tend to talk a lot. We talk, tell things, we vent, and we tell too much. This is why people end up falling out with people, because they're always telling their business. And you got to stop doing that. You got to be careful what you tell people now. I don't care where you live. You got to be careful about running that mouth and telling everything. A woman that has no business to tell a complete stranger in a bar where she lives. I don't know you. And I have no reason to tell you, oh yeah, I live over there on 15th Street. For what? It's none of your business. So you have to be careful what you tell people. Because just imagine you telling a stranger, a sicko wacko like Kohlberger, where you stay. Say, whoa. And then you mosey your cell phone out of there, and you don't think another thing about the person that you met. And then you go on about your way to wherever you live. But little do you know, Kohlberger has followed you out of the bar. Are y'all paying attention? And what was an innocent conversation, you now have a stalker. I won't doubt Kohlberger has done this in Pennsylvania as far as watching and following women. Because the one thing I found interesting about the information gathered is that his car was locked in a park. Now, you ask yourself, how would an adult not know when to get their car out of a parking lot before they close the park? Because I've never even heard of a park closing up, closing a gate or some mess, they said, I think. See, you don't even know what Kohlberger was doing. Kohlberger could have parked that car there, but walked out of there to somebody's neighborhood to gawk and stalk. And I park my car where I don't think there's cameras so I can come back, get in my car, leave without being detected. Yes, he is. Most treacherous type. So that's something I thought about a year or so when that information came out, or two. I said, why would his car be locked in a park? For what? So how did he get home? Then you have to ask that question. How far was his home from the place where the car was locked up? Yes, for a year. I'm sure he was. I'm sure he is, excuse me. Because we hear information about that as well. He's been to the King Road house up teen times, okay, you understand? So he didn't just walk up to King Road and walk through the door and kill those kids. Oh, no. He's then drove and sat. Now, he's supposed to be going to school to get degrees. And Washington State was what, 15 minutes or so from Idaho. So instead of him being over there in Washington minding his business and trying to get an education, he's all the way over here in Idaho watching these girls, whichever one he fancied. So you want me to believe a person at 28 woke up, flew all the way across the country, started stalking people in another state? Happenstance? Hell no. Oh, hell no. Kohlberger was doing this in Pennsylvania. That's why when they mentioned it last year, oh, we have information that he possibly was stalking the girls or girl a year before he got to Washington. I said, hell yeah. I already said that on my channel. I said it before it broke on News Nation. Because it's just a feeling I got. I said, how do we know he hadn't been stalking the girls all the way in Pennsylvania? How do we know he didn't apply to Washington State deliberately to get close to the prey? Checkmate. Whoever the young lady is, that was the eye of his affection, or the affection of his eye, excuse me. I won't doubt he found her on IG before touching down on Washington soil. He applied deliberately to that school to get close to the victim. We will wait to see. Couldn't get into Idaho, master's program, doctorate, which is whatever. So let me try Washington State. It's close by. You don't find it strange that Kernodle's sister went to Washington State where he was a student? I remember I mentioned this recently to somebody in the chat or something, and they said, oh my God, I didn't remember that. I said, yes. Kernodle's sister was at Washington State when all this went down. You don't find that peculiar? Come on, you guys. Come on now. That's too strange. One of the victim's sister was at Washington State as a student, and Korberger was also a student. Yes, it's all intertwined. Well said. Let's get over to Hendersonville, Tennessee. Thank you all so much for joining me. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $129 Cash App, stickers, and chats, always welcome to the live stream. Mr. Seth Rogers has spoken with Nancy Grace and taken a polygraph. She offered it to him. He has taken it, and allegedly he has passed the test. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you, Moran. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, you all. What will happen next in this case of Sebastian Rogers? Will the Proudfoots take the test? Perhaps Seth didn't take the test from the police department if they asked, because they verified he was at his job. So can somebody verify Mr. Proudfoot's and Katie Proudfoot's whereabouts on the 25th? The last time she went out with her son, Sebastian. Thank you for joining me.
Sebastian's father, and now joining us is a renowned polygrapher, Kendall Schule, former head of the entire FBI Polygraph program in D.C., former special agent with the FBI in D.C. He is at Kendall Investigations. Also joining us, Tony Mathis, who is helping Seth Rogers as he walks this very, very rocky path. First of all, let me just get this out of the way. This is a yes, no, Kendall Schule. Did Seth Rogers pass his polygraph?
Yes, he did.
Okay, Seth Rogers, tell me about going and taking the polygraph. We want to hear every single word, because I've got a stack of nasty online posts about you failing, about you not going, blah, blah, blah. A lot of trolls chiming in. Let's get to the truth of that polygraph. Seth, what happened?
Diana, stop that.
Early for the polygraph, Mr. Kendall contacted me and told me that he'd be there well before the time that we had stated. So I showed up and I sat in the chair and let him attach those things to me and took the polygraph.
Have you ever had a polygraph before?
No, ma'am.
Let me interject. Diana Howery in the chat. Nancy Grace didn't give the polygraph, girl. Somebody else with experience gave Seth the polygraph. Now, behave.
And what kind of questions did the polygrapher Kendall Schule ask you?
Diana, I'm not listening.
If I ever wanted to harm anybody, if I ever wanted to hurt my son, if I had ever hurt my son, if I had ever had anything to do with his disappearance.
Question. You said they hooked you up. What do you mean by that, Seth Rogers?
They put things on my hands. They wrapped cords around me. They had a blood pressure cuff on me to measure my blood pressure, measure my heart rate, my breathing rate, things like that.
How long did it take?
It took a minute.
It took 60 seconds. Could you be precise? Or more precise, how long do you think it took?
We were there for 3 hours, 4 hours.
That's about right. It's not easy. Okay, sit tight, Seth. And again, thank you for being with us. Out to Kendall Schule, as I told you, former head of the entire FBI Polygraph program in DC. Kendall, thank you. When we put out the word that Seth Rogers would take a polygraph, we contacted you because of your reputation. You quickly agreed, and I thank you for that. Again, this was not free. He was paid to do the polygraph. He owes nothing to anybody, and therefore was not swayed one way or the other. He had never met Seth Rogers before in his life. Mr. Schule, I've looked very carefully at your polygraph report right here. Number one, you start off by saying it was conducted using a comparison question format that meets U.S. government standards. What is a comparison question format? What is that?
It's a format that's well accepted by the polygraph
So why knew
community,
he lazy fell asleep 3 times during the polygraph report to his own mother?
There are certain formats that we can use that are more acceptable, we know are more reliable. And this was
Crazy Mimi, what are you talking about?
A test format that I would want to use to make sure we're doing everything right to get the correct results.
Y'all
This is again a
I'm trying to quit
polygraph
cussing.
that is widely accepted as a standard in the FBI world and in the polygraph world in general.
Oh, that's it. Well, what do you all have to say about this information pertaining to the polygraph? He passed it. As I said, I could see why the police wouldn't have administered one to him or asked him to take one, because they verified his location and verified that he's on the clock. He's visibly seen at his job, assumingly. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Proudfoot, have you all taken a polygraph by the local sheriff's department or TBI? Did they ask you all to take a polygraph? If so, did you take it? Did you pass? The one thing I say about true crime is the obvious. I'm going to keep saying this until I stop talking about true crime. You do not know the truth of what has happened in a case. Let me say it again. The only time you're going to find out the truth is if it makes it to court. You're going to get partial truths. You're going to find out about a polygraph. You're going to find out what evidence was gathered. You're going to find out about CCTV footage. You're going to find out who's a witness, eyewitness, what they have to say. You entitled to believe their information. You're entitled not to believe it. That is the only time you're going to get any information, is when there is an arrest and there's an affidavit to give you the said information of what was found pertaining to the suspect or suspects and any information that they gave up. Pinto, you a mess. Girl, he's been calling tubers with a voice changer. Oh, okay, Mimi. Well, I saw somebody's video today. I didn't open it up. And it said it had a picture of Chris and some other white guy with thinning hair. And I thought, what is this all about? I haven't any clue. Let's listen to some of Queen's shorts, since we're going to pass a little time, because I got to run an errand at about 6 o'clock. So let's listen to the Queen. Please check out my shorts. I've decided to do more shorts now because they're easier, they're quicker, keeps people from having to listen to long-winded videos. It's only 15 seconds. They only give you 15 seconds. And you ought to see me trying to do the shorts, put everything in 15 seconds. You know, that's hard for the Queen. The Vault XL.
The news says there's no surveillance of your son, Sebastian Rogers. Can you enlighten us on what the hell they talking about? When you gonna tell us the truth about where this boy is, and when you gonna acknowledge that photo's floating around? Yeah, okay.
That's the Queen. Hey, Katie Proudfoot, is that Sebastian's photo or not?
Hey, Katie Proudfoot, when you gonna bring your ass out that camper and start searching for your damn son? And when are you gonna address that picture that's floating around? Is it your son or not? Stop playing these mind games, you and Christopher. Game's over, babe. Hey, Katie Proudfoot, when you gonna bring your ass out that camper and start searching for your damn son? And when are you gonna address that picture that's floating around? Is it your son or not? Stop playing these mind games, you and Christopher.
All right, go into the YouTube queue to hear the queen in her shorts pertaining to this case. I'm trying to see how many more shorts I've done. I've done so many. Nancy Grace says Seth Rogers passed the polygraph. This is crazy.
Nancy Grace offered Seth Rogers a polygraph. He took it. He passed. So I guess there was no need of him taking it because law enforcement verified that he was at his job. So what is really going on here?
All right, what is really going on here? Hey, Nancy Grace, are you going to ask the Proudfoots to take a polygraph?
This is a message from Miss Nancy Grace. We know that you offered Seth Rogers a polygraph and he passed it. So are you going to offer the Proudfoots 1 or 2? Because we would love to see those results.
Thank you, AB, for playing the Queen's content on your live stream last night. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. God is good. Please check out my video from yesterday where I talk about Tennessee laws. We have a lot of laws on the books. So I did a live stream pertaining to your child being transgender, but they go to school and claim to be another sex. Well, Tennessee law says I can call your parent, the teacher can call the parent to say, hey, Johnny says he's Johnita. And some of you may disagree. Somebody wrote a long-winded response to my video. The point of me giving you this information, you agree or disagree. I don't really care. You know, I don't care. The point is things can jump off if the teacher calls the mother, father to say, hey, we're going to have a school meeting. Are you coming? So let's role play. Ring, 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 ring. Ring, 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 ring. Hello. Yes, this is Mrs. Johnson calling from the school. I was just calling to let you know that we're having a parent-teacher meeting, and if you would be coming here for our little Johnny. Johnny? I think you have the wrong number. I don't have a son by the name of Johnny. Excuse me? You don't have a son named Johnny? Well, he's enrolled in my class. No, I don't have a son, Johnny. I have a daughter, Jamisha. Are you talking about Jamisha? You can't be talking about Jamisha. She's a girl. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I don't mean to disrespect you, but Jamisha is Johnny. Did everybody hear that? Imagine you get a parent that's cuckoo and get to talking crazy, cussing the teacher out. Well, you knew my child been in school, dressed up like a boy, and you ain't called me, and you ain't said nothing. Hold up, sister. I called to talk to you about Johnny, because that's the name she gave me in school. How do I know if it's a boy or a girl? If she says, I'm John. Oh, okay, Johnny, not Jamisha. So what the teacher gonna do? Argue back and forth with the kid in the classroom, Johnny or Jamisha? That's the point of the school, it being a law, that they can call you and tell you your child is identified as a boy or a girl. Because you know there will be a jump off at some point. So I don't know why anybody would get an attitude that this is Tennessee law. If you have a problem with the law, please call Governor Bill Lee. Queen didn't make the damn law, okay? I just bring you the news. Dang. I just bring you the news. Shit. But you got, see, a lot of you don't like when you're not thinking. So whoever wrote me that long post, let me talk to you for a second, because I don't really like doing this, because I'm trying to change my ways, and you're putting me back to the old queen that I'm trying not to be. The point is, if a person doesn't know that's a boy or a girl sitting in a classroom, that's going to be a problem down the road. What is it that you don't understand about that? The parent can get upset that the child is pretending to be something that they're not and blame the school. And the school could be like, well, we didn't want to argue with the kid. And you're sitting here writing me this long-winded post about identity, and they can feel more comfortable at school being somebody else because they can't be who they want at the house. Well, the teacher doesn't know any of that. Just because Jamisha goes to class as a girl, well, she's a girl, but she's pretending to be a boy or wants a boy name, that doesn't mean that she has problems at home. That doesn't mean that she hasn't come out to her family or she's identifying as masculine. See, you don't know that. So I would tell people to think before you post stuff. How do you know Jamisha has already talked to mommy and daddy and said, hey, I feel like a boy. Could you call me Johnny? And they could have said, okay. And then she goes to class and the teacher roll calls and she says, oh, no, not Jamisha, Johnny. So the teacher can either argue with Jamisha or say, okay, Johnny, let it go. But she still has an obligation by state law to call mommy and daddy to say, hey, just want to let you know, Jamisha wants to be called John in school. It's my due diligence to call you. I don't have a say in this. It's Tennessee law. You can either agree or disagree. All I'm saying is, this could be controversial down the road in case the child has an accident. Somebody has to call the mother, father to let them know their child is sick. Parent-teacher meetings, anything. The child was disruptive in school. If a child is going by John, but they are a girl, they naturally have to call somebody to verify, hey, I just want to let you know Johnny was in a wreck, or Johnny, the school bus had a wreck, or we went on a field trip, Johnny had a stroke, had a heart attack. And then the parent is going to be saying, well, I don't know who you're talking about. I don't have a Johnny. Who are you talking about? I ain't got no boy. I got one daughter. Well, he goes by the name John. What you mean? See where I'm going? So, calm down. Calm down. Damn. Jesus. Everybody's situation is not the same. That's the point. Transgender, whatever identity they want to call themselves, every child does not have the same problems another transgender child has. That's all I'm saying. And you can't get mad at the law because now it's Tennessee law. It may be the law in other states. Eventually, I don't know. It's none of my business. All I'm saying is, if a person is identifying as something else, you should want to know that as the parent, just in case something happens to your child at school, there's not going to be a mix-up of who they're calling you about your child. So I don't know why anyone would get offended. Why would you get offended? I've asked a lot of questions past couple of days on my channel about different things, and I asked you all about that. Identification, such as this subject here. You meet a he who wants to be a she, and he tells you to call him she or her. Do you respond to what they want you to call them? I'll let you all marinate on that. A parent says there should be a form that can be filled out by the parents and child, so everyone, including the teacher, knows what's going. Yes, parents. Thank you, parents. That's a very good idea. And you see that now with a lot of government forms. When you deal with the government, especially here in Tennessee, if you deal with any type of forms, I don't know how to word it, government forms, they'll ask you, how do you identify yourself? You know, besides your race, you know, they'll ask you if you're Hispanic, you're non-white, you're, Native American, and it also will ask you about your identity. How do you identify yourself? Male, female, non-binary, whatever. I don't know. Don't get me started on that. So I don't know nothing about it. I ain't trying to find out. Hold on 1 second. I'm messaging somebody. Hold on. This is the hardest job in America. This YouTube. I swear. Damn. Also, Tennessee got a new law. Parents have to pay for their children's crimes. If your child commits an offense after one time, thereafter the one time, let's say offense number 2, you will be fined $1,000 or you have to do community service. Now, the Queen asks, what about attempted murder? Then what? What about court costs? Because court costs is not the same as fines. You can get fined $100 for the crime, but you also got to pay court costs to stand in court. Ding! Because that's how the court makes money. Stay woke, everybody. So, how's that going to work? Ring, ring, ring. Hello. Yes, could you come down here to the police station? Why? Your son Johnny's down here. He's committed murder. Oh, okay. Is that going to be $1,000 fine for murder or attempted murder of another human being? I don't know what to say. Oh. Hold on. I'm multitasking. Okay. All right. That's my latest. I'm got to check out of here, but I'll be right back with you guys because I got to go run a quick errand. But like, share, subscribe, drop your comments below. And if you'd like to donate, $ again, $129 Cash App, super chats. Always welcome to the live stream. Got to cut this live short. I'll be right back. I'll come back later on. Thank you all so much for the love. This is the Vault XL. Thank you all so much.